Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Commission meeting of Thursday, April 8th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the city clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. Mr. Chairman, may I call the roll, please?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Dumas is absent today. Commissioner Furman?
Present.
Commissioner Hodges?
Present.
Commissioner Levine? Absent. Commissioner Minato? Commissioner Minato? Thank you. Commissioner Rogani?
I'm here.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Watkins?
Present, Maggie.
Commissioner Arenas?
Present.
And Chairman Thaxton?
Present.
Okay, we have 2 commissioners absent and 7 in attendance. I'll read the agenda into the record. Notice, however, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8, commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey, in-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 1-973-321-1579. Meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Board of Adjustment regular meeting on Thursday, April 8th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. On the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence, the public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov. Today's meeting, the first application is Market Street Super Subs Laundromat LLC, 658-664 Market Street, Block 9806, Lot 3. The block is 9006, Lot 3. Application to convert a vacant commercial space into a laundromat with 6,141 square feet and add a second level addition for 3 2-bedroom apartments. The applicant is providing 50 washing machines and 44 dryers. The retail space was formerly a car dealership. The applicant is providing 24 of the 31 parking spaces that are required. This is for use of site plan for Passaic County Planning Board review in a B3 zone. Is the applicant present? Mr. Mariconda?
Yes, thank you. Sorry for the delay. Alan Mariconda on behalf of the applicant, 726 Market Street, Paterson. The applicant is ready.
Thank you. The next application is Migdalia Campos, 129-131 Union Avenue, Block 1612, Lot 17. Application to convert an existing garage into a home office. The applicant proposes to open a home office in the attached 1-car garage with 1 part-time assistant. The proposed office would be 318 square feet with an existing entrance or exit on the side of the dwelling. The applicant is providing 1 space in the front yard setback of the 4 spaces that are required. This is for both site plan and Passaic County Planning Board review in an R1 zone. Is the applicant present?
Applicant present, ready. Alan Mariconda.
Thank you very much. If I could please have everyone mute their mics, because I do hear someone in the background, thank you. And Chairman Thaxton, I turn the meeting over to you, sir.
We can start with item number 1, supersede.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Alan Maricondo again on behalf of the applicant. This is an application that is back before your board after your board unanimously granted us the opportunity for reconsideration in this case. We're back before you on reconsideration based on a substantially reduced application whereby we've eliminated one of the two commercial uses proposed and added residential parking, and I'll have my experts detail the other modifications for the site with respect to architectural design and site plan engineering. So again, we feel this is a very positive application in this particular zone. We feel the modifications that we're presenting to you this evening make it even more suitable than it was originally in the B3 zone for this combination use, which is comparable to many of the surrounding buildings. I'd like to call Mr. Osvaldo Martinez, my first witness.
Here, present.
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Say your full name for the record.
Osvaldo Martinez, Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, just state for the record your professional background and experience.
Yes, I'm a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey and New York. I have appeared before numerous boards just like this throughout the state of New Jersey, and I have appeared before this board as well in the past couple months.
Chairman, we've asked for acceptance.
You accept your credentials, sir.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martinez, could you give us a rundown from an architectural standpoint? I know the board is somewhat familiar with this project from the previous appearance, but could you give us, from an architectural perspective, what we're proposing at this time?
Yes. Should I share the screen and share the drawing?
Yes.
Okay. Just give me 1 second to do that. Okay, can everyone see the drawing in front of them?
I believe so.
Yes?
Is it good on the commissioner's zone?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So pretty much this project is pretty similar to what we proposed a couple months ago. As we're aware, the project is at the corner of East 25th Street and Market Street. It's an existing warehouse. I think before that it was a used car dealership. We're proposing to take down a large...
Mr. Martinez, just for the record, would you give the date of your plan? Because I know it has been revised. This is Gary Paparosi, the planner.
Yes, hi Mr. Paparosi.
I-
Our new date, that's actually not the new date. Let's see what the revised date is.
9/11/20? I have 9/11/20. I hope that's
I
right.
believe it's 9/11/20, yes, September 11, 2020. I'm not sure why this first sheet is not revised.
It has it. It has it. But it has it right above A2.
Okay. Okay, so 9/11/20. So what we have here is we're proposing a laundromat, and the difference between this application and the previous application is that we have removed, on the Market Street side, we were proposing a laundromat along with a retail space. We have removed the retail space, and we now propose enclosed parking, 6 proposed parking spaces, which would be dedicated to the second floor apartments. The laundromat itself has been reduced slightly in size. We now propose 50 washers and 40 dryers. So we have reduced the equipment, which would then reduce the amount of parking as well. And on the left-hand side of the laundromat, or on the East 25th Street side, we're proposing 18 parking spaces, along with a garbage and recycling area at the rear left. So we go to our second floor, or my sheet A2. The apartment layout is pretty much the same. 3 apartments, 3 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments on the second floor. But we have now added an owner's office, sort of an administrative office for the laundromat, operator's office at the corner of 25th and Market. This portion of the building used to be a sort of to mask the equipment. We had a single-story parapet wall above the first floor, which was a little bit of a concern. And so what we've done is we've now just enclosed that and added an office for the operator, owner/operator. It serves to mask the second floor, the equipment on the second floor, and it now serves a purpose and as an office for the operator once again. Sheet A3, the first one on the top is our parking lot elevation. Pretty much the same. We have an entrance from the parking lot into a laundromat. 2 windows on the second floor belong to our second floor office. The 25th Street elevation, you see the parking lot on the left, and then our 2-story building with the laundromat on the ground floor and our apartments on the second. And the Market Street elevation, which is our laundromat entrance at the corner of 25th and Market. And then just to the right of that, an overhead door where one previously existed. The curb cut is there as well. There was a sort of a garage there to service the used cars that were sold at the dealership at the corner. So we're proposing to keep that curb cut, of course installing the overhead door, and this would be once again enclosed parking for the 3 second floor apartments. And then to the right there's the entrance to the second floor apartment. We've pretty much kept the same look of the building, which we think is a good look. It's a combination of brick, stucco, stone, aluminum and glass, and I think it'll be a very good look and a nice new addition to that neighborhood.
Okay, Mr. Martinez, with regard to this site, you touched upon the fact that there was a more intense use, particularly a car dealership on this site, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is basically a retrofit of an existing building into a use that, although not permitted under this zone because of the size of the laundromat, does bring a different style of use to the B3 zone, fair to say, than what was there before, right?
That's correct, and we're reducing the lot coverage as well.
Right, right. And you're satisfied from your perspective that the design changes that you've made actually are more suitable to the site than what we previously had presented?
I believe they are, yes.
Okay. And with regard to the combination on your design of the residential, and above the laundromat, can you explain how that separation exists, and would there be any explanation that you could offer about the suitability in terms of those 2 uses coexisting?
Sure. There's plenty of examples of residential over commercial. As a matter of fact, this particular owner has another location with this same combination of commercial retail on the ground floor with residential on the second. There's many examples throughout the state of New Jersey where those 2 coexist very well. The laundromat is a neighborhood business. It serves the residential. It serves that second floor use. And those two uses, again, there's a lot of examples throughout the state where those two coexist very, very well.
Right, in terms of separation and venting and so forth, are you satisfied that your design takes care of those issues?
100%. This will comply all to the International Building Code, all the venting. That's one of the things that we do best is laundromats, and we will make sure that this would all comply to code and function very well.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, that would conclude Mr. Martinez's testimony at this time. He's of course available for questions and recall if necessary. Bearing in mind, Mr. Stearns will be testifying as the site plan engineer and the applicant who has extensive experience in the laundromat business. So we're available for any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Martinez, I do like the fact that you got rid of that 10-foot parapet wall. It's been the history of me on the board and many other boards that usually the parapet walls are 3 to 4 feet max. I had a concern about 10 feet, especially in light of the fact that this past year, I think trees were blown over at an alarming rate, and I didn't know how that stability for a 10-foot parapet wall was going to hold up. So I'm glad that that's gone. I think it's a better application with that gone, and of course downsizing the application altogether. So obviously everything has stayed the same except for you got rid of that parapet wall, which I'm in favor of, and the downsizing of the laundromat, the retail, that also helped. So really, Mr. Chairman, I have no questions for Mr. Martinez. His plan speaks for itself, and I am glad that the parapet wall is gone because I did have some concerns about that. So if the board has any questions of my report, I will happily answer them.
Any commissioners have questions? Mr. Rocca, could you open it up to the public, please?
Yes. So members of the public, if you have any questions of this witness with regard to his testimony, you could call and ask questions. Now will not be the time to make any comments or give any statements, but it'll be an opportunity to ask any questions you have with regard to the testimony you just heard. If you have any questions, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Once again, call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment to see if anybody calls.
We can change the date on this.
We have no callers at this time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maricano, please proceed.
Thank you, Counselor. I'll call Mr. Tom Stearns of DB Associates.
Mr. Stearns,
Yes, good evening.
please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You say your full name for the record?
Sure. Thomas G. Stearns III, STEARNS, 144 Jewel Street, Garfield, New Jersey.
Tom, just for the record, I know you've appeared before this board many times. Your professional licensing and credentials?
Yes, so I'm a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey, licensed land surveyor. I've been accepted, licensed engineer since 1998. And I've been accepted, before many boards as an expert in engineering and before this board many times as well.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, we accept your credentials.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Mr. Stearns, obviously you've heard Mr. Martinez's testimony and Mr. Paparazzi's comments as well. Obviously you're very familiar with this project. We've been working with the staff to make what we feel are very positive modifications. Could you go over the site plan in terms of your design?
Sure. So as we said before, this is it was a used car dealership, large building, and a small parking lot in the back. So what we did is we reduced the building footprint from 13,320 square feet to 9,100 square feet. I'll just state my plan. So my revised site plan is dated 10/6/20. 21, no, 10/6/20, I'm sorry. If I could share my plan?
Sure.
Okay. Let me give it a shot. Ozzy, if I have trouble, just give me a hand, let me say. Does everyone see that?
Okay.
Yeah, it's open.
Okay. How's that?
No.
No? Okay.
Not yet, Tom.
Okay.
Can you close it?
Yes, let me, you want us to try?
Yeah, alright, give it a shot. I'll stop.
Okay. Yeah, we're still. Did you stop yours, Tom?
I did, yeah, I hit stop sharing.
Yeah. It's still up on here.
Oh, mine's still there?
Yeah, okay.
There you go. I see yours. Here we go. Alright, thank you. So, let's see. Again, I'll just go through, so the major changes we did to the site were, we removed the retail, which is on Market Street. In place of that retail, we put a 6-car parking lot for the second floor residences. So that we feel will be a big improvement. It'll lessen the intensity of the development, and it'll provide separate parking for those second floor 3 apartments. So they have their own parking, and it won't be in conflict with the laundromat. So the laundromat side, we have at the rear of the property, we have 18 spaces with a refuse area and 1 handicap space. So the 1 handicap covers, we're allowed one handicap is required for every 25 spaces. Here we're providing a total of 24 spaces, so that'll satisfy that requirement. We also have our separate refuse and recycling areas. They're in the far right corner of the parking lot. We have a parking lot with a 24-foot aisle, all conforming 18-foot spaces by 9. Also, we, as we said, as Mr. Martinez went through the building, we took away that parapet wall. We have the office for the second floor, a laundromat office for the owner. As far as the zoning goes, so we did reduce the, we increased the number of parking spaces and we reduced the number of required parking spaces. So in my zone chart, I have 31 spaces. Mr. Paparazzi in his letter has 36. I think that's due to the difference is the office of the second floor for the laundromat. That gives you the extra couple spaces, I believe. So we have 2 spaces for every residential use on the second floor. We had 50 machines. And that gives us 25 spaces, and then the balance was for the office on the second floor. So the requirement is 36 spaces, we're providing 24 spaces, but we feel in this case...
We're much closer than we were before.
We're quite a bit closer, and also we feel there's enough public transportation in the area, and also this is a walkable, we feel it's a lot of walking traffic to the laundromat, so people will walk. It's proximate to the neighborhood, and people will walk to the laundromat itself.
And we're in the B3 general business district, which obviously supports a wide range of uses and some mixed-use buildings in the area.
That's correct. Yes, there are several. I think there's 3 residential commercial uses around us, and 1 residential use bordering us. So it's a mixed-use area. We feel just the changes will definitely a big difference in compared to what we had before, and we feel it's a good fit for the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you very much. Of course, Mr. Paparazzi will have the opportunity to address you as well. Thank you very much, Tom.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom, Mr. Stearns, the reason for the 36 is the office space that was not included. You added the 25 for the laundromat, the 6 for the residential, and it came out to 5 and change for the square footage for the laundromat, which has to be rounded up because it's the commercial, so that was 6. Did you say that you were reducing the size of the building? Did I hear you correctly, or?
Not the building itself, no,
Okay.
just the use we took out.
Okay, yeah.
So the building footprint stayed the same from our last application, but it's reduced from the existing condition.
Okay, Tom, since you had the zoning chart on, the map, I'll go over them with you.
Sure.
I have the, first variance is the use was residential is not permitted in B3, okay? Then second variance, minimum front setback of 20 feet on Market Street, 0 feet is proposed because you're adding that level, that's in the R3. Minimum front setback on East 25th is also 20, and 0 is proposed because again, you're adding the second level.
Correct.
Side setback of 4 feet is required, 0 is proposed, and again, it's because of the adding of the second level. The maximum lot coverage is 40 allowed. You came up with, I think you came up with
58.1.
I had 60, but regardless, it's a downsize of the building, and it's still a variance in the R3. Parking 3 feet to the property line, 0 is proposed, that's in both zones. And the parking, which we just went over. Now, I'm gonna make a couple comments on the parking for the board members.
Sure.
The count is for the laundromat and for the residential is 31. Now, the office for the laundromat, now there's no kitchen there, as was on Mr. Martinez's plan. It's just an office with actually just a powder room. So, normally, just because of the square footage, 6 spaces are required, but normally there should only be 1 occupant in that office area for the laundromat. So although 36 are proposed, I think the number would probably be 32, which would make this application 8 spaces short, as opposed to the former application, which was 30 spaces short. Am I right on that?
Yes, I'm in agreement with that, yes.
We definitely agree, Gary, you're correct, that's intended to be a one-man office for Mr. Poe.
That's in most cases with the laundromat, Mr. Mariconda, but, just based on the square footage, it was 5 and change, which was rounded up to 6. And that's why I wanted to bring that out to the board. So my report is correct. It does need, by code, 36, but it's probably, that it needs, 32. It would be probably the accurate amount. And what I do like about the application to the board members is that, they eliminated the retail, they eliminated some wash machines, they increased parking, and they went from a parking deficit of 30 to approximately 8. And I'm using that number only because of the office and the laundromat. So, I just wanted to run those are the variances. It is a used application, so, 5 affirmative votes are required. Tom's plan, and Mr. Martinez's plan show the reduction as been noted. Thank you, and that's all I have for Mr. Stearns.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, any commissioners have questions? Okay, Mr. LaRocca, open it up to the public, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. To the members of the public, if you have any questions of this witness, please call 973-321-1579, and when prompted to, enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Again, the phone number is 973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment if anybody calls. Do we have any callers?
We have no callers at this time, sir.
Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Thank you again, Mr. Rocca. Call Mr. Edwin Poe.
Present.
Mr. Poe,
Yes.
please raise your right hand. I don't see you.
You have to come on the screen.
Sir, you have to put your camera on.
There you go.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand.
Yes, am I on?
You were, now you're off.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay.
You swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Say your full name for the record.
My name is Edwin Poe.
Thank you.
Edwin, you are the principal owner of Market Street Troopers Laundromat LLC, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
And you have heard all the testimony this evening,
Yes, I have.
as well as the reports from the planner? And are you in full agreement with the presentation, with the reductions and modifications we did?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, great. And just for many of the board members happen to know your experience in some way, but just tell us a brief summary of your experience in the laundromat business.
Well, I've been in the laundromat business now for 20 years, and I have a
two other locations here in the city of Paterson that I run. And I try to run a very clean operation there and a very affordable business there for the general public there.
Right. And in those other locations, there is a mixed-use character to at least one of those buildings with residential above?
Actually, both of them do.
And that's worked out well for you?
It works out really well. Nobody complains, everybody's fine. Actually, they kind of like it because they just come right, the ones that do live there are fortunate enough to just come down and wash.
Right. And you do serve, and intend to serve at this location a walk-in trade from the surrounding area as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, that's basically what we wanted to hear from your experience and your ability to ratify the testimony of the professionals. So that would be all I have, Mr. Chairman, at this time.
Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Poe, I think you made a lot of changes that were positive from the last application. Obviously, there were a lot of concerns I had. Now, and I know you have other laundromats, but I don't, and I might be wrong, I don't see a laundromat as a walking facility. You know, I mean, I mean, maybe the houses next door, or a couple next door, or across the street, but I don't see people walking two blocks with laundry, detergent, bleach, fabric softener. Especially if it's two baskets, that's worse than ShopRite shopping. I mean.
Yeah, I want to correct myself. I wanted to say partially a walking trade, but we understand there's going to be automobile transportation.
Okay,
Is that correct? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I feel better with that interpretation because really, I see laundromats all over, but I never see people really walking to them. But Mr. Poe, I am happy with the changes you made. You downsized considerable, and I'm happy with that.
Thank you.
I think at least now you're providing parking where the site before had no parking, and I think it would have less of a negative impact than the auto sales business where the cars were parked on the street as well as inside the building. So, but I think the changes were positive, and thank you for that. That's what I have, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Paul.
Any commissioners have questions?
Yes, hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is Commissioner Furman. I do have a question. Please let me know if I can proceed with the question.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is for Mr. Poe.
Yes, sir.
How long you been in business here in our city of Paterson?
Since 1993. I'm a real estate investor and I also own a chain of laundromats. I have 2 laundromats there. I've been in the laundromat business now since 93.
If you don't mind, can you please mention the location of the other 2 laundromats that you own in Paterson?
Yes, sir. One is 811 Main Street, and the other one is on the corner of 32nd Street and 12th Avenue.
Eddie, can you put your camera back on?
Yes, I can. Okay, sorry.
My next question is, how many employees are you planning to have in the
Well, we have 3 shifts, and we try to make them 5-hour shifts so that nobody will get bored. Basically, it's from, we have 3 shifts there, so there'll be 3 different people, a total of 4 people, but then somebody else comes in and cleans at the end of the shift.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Ed. That answered all my questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Watkins. Hello, Mr. Poe, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
My only question is, Could you explain to the commissioners if your taxes and sewer are paid up?
Yes, they are actually. There was a notice there and it's been paid up to date, and I sent all copies to my attorney this afternoon after I saw the review. We paid everything online, and sometimes it takes a little longer for it to record, but we have the confirmation and everything, and it is all paid up to date.
Right,
Thank you, I can confirm that as well, I received it, so yes, it, at the time, it was not when I did the review, but now it has been paid up to date, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Commissioner Monaro, has a question?
Go ahead.
Mr. Paul, good evening. I just wanted to know if, your office is still going to be there now with the new plans? Are you still planning on having your office there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the plan. So it's local for me, and it's a lot easier for me.
Okay.
And I like to be on hands on my business.
Okay, so will you also require that parking as well for that specific office?
That's already incorporated, Commissioner, into our site plan requirements. Mr. Paparazzi also covered that. His determination was that based on the square footage, but the reality of a one-man office up there, it only added a one parking space requirement, if I'm correct, Mr. Paparazzi?
Yes, Commissioner Manaro, the parking includes the office, the residential, and the laundromat. And the square footage for the office area requires 6 spaces, 5 feet, 5.4, something to that effect, which is rounded up to 6 because it is commercial. But from my experience, an office for a laundromat is usually a one-person operation. It's not like it's a business he's only there for troubleshooting, I imagine, and checking the machines or emptying the machines or loading money into the machines so that there's available change and so forth. But the parking analysis included everything, which would make them 12 spaces short, but in reality, because it is an office with just a powder room, it would probably be 8 spaces short, and that includes the office, Mr. Poe's office, the residential, and the laundromat together.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I open it to the public?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. If any members of the public have questions of the applicant, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. And again, this is to ask questions of the applicant. You will have an opportunity at the end for comments. 973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment.
Mr. LaRocca, I think what might help especially on the virtual meetings, is when the last expert or witness gives testimony, you might want to have everything incorporated so we don't have to go back to the public,
Yeah, just in case there's any comments from Mr. Maricon or anything we're going to address, but yes.
I'm just trying to streamline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, commissioners and staff, we have no callers at this time, thank you.
Mr. Maricon, could you sum up, please?
We thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, for the opportunity to come back before you this evening. I believe our professional and applicant testimony this evening provides more than sufficient basis for a positive review of this project, which I think will inject new life into this site. It also brings everyone closer to his lawyer's office, but that's a separate issue. But in any event, we really do believe it's a positive and it meets a substantial need in that neighborhood. We've reduced substantially the variances that are required. We do believe that the design and the usage reduction of the elimination of the retail with additional parking, we believe meets all the concerns that your professional staff raised during the prior hearing several months ago. So we would ask that this application be considered for approval. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I went over the variances for the application. It is a use variance and it requires 5 affirmative votes. And the parking analysis, again, there are 12 spaces short, but in reality, because of the office area, they are 8 spaces short for this application. And I always defer to the board members for the parking because of the area involved, and I'm sure they know the area better than myself. So the application, for your consideration, I would consider 8 spaces short for the application, and use your judgment on the parking. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At this time, can we have a motion?
Yes, hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is Commissioner Furman. I do have a motion.
Go ahead.
For the record, can I please make a comment?
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This project will benefit this area, and it will also improve. Right now, that's basically an abandoned place. Therefore, my vote is yes for approval.
Madam Secretary, could you read it into the record, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Furman makes a motion that the application of Market Street Super Suds Laundromat LLC concerning the premises at 658, 664 Market Street, Block 9006, Lot 3, be granted. This is to convert a vacant commercial space into a laundromat with 6,141 square feet and add a second floor level addition for a 3 2-bedroom apartment. The applicant is providing 50 washing machines and 44 dryers. The retail was formerly a car dealership. The applicant is providing 24 of the 31 parking spaces that are required for use both in site plan and Passaic County Planning Board review in the B3 zone, and subject to the review and approval, if applicable, of the following but not limited to: city engineer, Passaic County Planning Board, Passaic County Engineer, HEP Soil Conservation District, and building codes of the state of New Jersey. He so moves. We have a second. Chairman Jackson?
I'll second it, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. I'll proceed with the vote. Commissioners, Commissioner Furman? Commissioner Furman? Please put your cameras on if you do available for the public to view, please. Thank you. Commissioner Furman, your vote is yes. Thank you. Commissioner Hodges?
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Minato?
Yes, Maggie.
Thank you. Commissioner Rohim?
Yes, Maggie.
Commissioner Watkins?
Yes, Maggie.
Commissioner Arenas?
Yes, Maggie.
And Chairman Paxton.
Yes.
This application has been granted 7 in affirmative. Thank you.
And thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, have a good night.
Good night. Chairman Paxton, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you.
Next item is 129, 131 Union Avenue. Mr. Mercado.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Alan Maricondo on behalf of Migdalia Campos. This is an application for an owner-occupant to operate a small home office as part and parcel to her primary residence. This is a site that's located in the R1 zone. We're before you this evening for the variance request, of course. This is an area in the Hillcrest section, in Totowa section, where there are other small home office locations scattered in the area. But this particular one involves Ms. Campos, who's a CPA accountant, and she'll be testifying after Mr. Evans. Her testimony, which we'll cover in a second, will elicit certain issues about the experience that she had after she bought the building in 2018. But suffice it to say for now that she hired a contractor with all in good faith and paid a licensed contractor to provide the services to convert the garage to an office space for her, part and parcel to her professional occupancy. And that contract provided for him to obtain all permits required to utilize this space as a home office. Unfortunately, there came a point where the work was done, but the contractor was unable to follow through because he apparently had not taken the necessary steps and done his due diligence with respect to the obtaining of permits without coming before the board. So we acknowledge that this was developed, unfortunately, without coming to the board, but not on my client's bad faith. She acted in good faith with this contractor, who's a well-known Paterson contractor, very frankly, and unfortunately, she had this bad experience. So I just wanted to give that background and also indicate that it would be just her operating. She also will testify to the fact that her only assistant is her sister, who is a resident of the house with her. So we'll touch upon her other testimony as we move along. At this point, I'd like to call Mr. Evans.
Counsel, just so I understand, were any permits taken out for the work?
Apparently, this contractor was obligated under his contract with her to take all the steps necessary. Mr. Evans or Ms. Campos may know better than me as to whether there were any permits really pulled at all. I'm not quite sure.
Alright, because regardless of the zoning issue, ultimately then we'd have to deal with the permits as a condition anyway.
Oh, absolutely. She would have to make sure that she's in full compliance with all, plumbing, electrical, general contracting, and so forth, that this contractor let her down on.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Evans, I believe.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your full name for the record.
Matthew Evans, architect, planner, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Evans' credentials will be stipulated?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Evans, we have, you're gonna post your plan, I believe, at this time, right? You ready to go? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Evans, you heard my opening. I wanted to give a little bit of a background there. You weren't involved in any way with the, prior to the application being filed with the permit process at all, right?
No, I mean, we had limited exposure, to this based on, reviewing it, and I don't know if there were any permits, taken for basic work. There might have been permits for basic work, done for the, client. I don't know if there were, any approvals or, plumbing, electrical, framing, etc. But, the applicant will probably give you a background on that.
So from your experience, she certainly has to be in full compliance with all those requirements, even if this board grants the approval.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So give us an overview of the site.
Okay, I'll go here, I'll go to the, site location plan, the properties at, 131 Union Avenue, between Lexington and Lenox Avenue. It's basically a one-family house, an existing structure that was, had an addition and modified the garage to, incorporate a home office. The site is, consistent with other sites along Union Avenue that have, mixed use or business and residential, in this size and capacity. We showed the original survey, or the survey, shows the house with the area of a two-story addition hatched, and then the garage behind that was converted to the home office. I'll illustrate that a little bit. That was by Darren Spatter, and September 30th, 2019, the survey was done, and we used that as a base for the site plan. That's basically as-built, showing the ramp and the improvements done. So then we have the variances. Basically, we have most the pre-existing condition would be the side setback for both, and that's basically the footprint would remain, but there was an addition to the second floor and squaring off the building, which would need to be a variance. We have parking. We have existing parking. We have the driveway in the front, and then we have a one-family house. We have a 5-bedroom, and we have the home business, which would be 4 clients per day, and then basically coming on at a time. We have so we need 3 spaces for the 5-bedroom, and we have 4 total for the clients. So we are proposing that the parking would be in the front. That would be existing. So we also looking for a variance for pre-existing non-conforming parking in the side setback. And then we go to the go through the existing plan specs. There's a finished playroom on the basement, finished basement, laundry, existing bathroom, mechanical area, and a stair going up to the first floor. The existing living room, fireplace. There's a dining room and a open kitchen in the back. And what the applicant has done, as you can see, the hatched area where it's added in front of the garage. There's a waiting area. It's basically one door that separates the living from the accounting office. And the total accounting office area is 318 square feet. A new handicap bathroom. And then this hatched area at the back is the office area, and there's a storage for the office materials behind the desk in the office area.
So it's a very limited amount of square footage compared to the size of the house.
Yes, it's just that most of basically these hatched areas, 318 for that right side of the house.
Right.
The bedrooms upstairs, we have 5 bedrooms. This was expanded, this 1 bedroom in the front, and the rest of the bedrooms are basically just upgraded and modified as they were originally. The same condition with the living space has all been redone, but it's basically the same layout.
The same footprint and just internal improvements.
Right.
Right, okay. And they're not impacting the office use in any way?
No, it's just pretty much separate. There's a little door. I'll show you the door here. There's a little door in the back storage that goes into the kitchen. That's one connection, and then the common area. Basically, if people come in here, then on the right side there's a door to come in, and there's a handicap ramp that was built on the right side of the house that would remain. So that's in essence the alterations in addition to the house.
Okay. Now, Mr. Paparazzi will have comments, of course, regarding the variances. One of the things that we'll talk about with Ms. Campos is how she functions and often visits her clientele. But we'll accept Mr. Paparazzi's review of, limitations, on the home office use as well. Anything else you, wish to add? Do you feel it's appropriate from a planning perspective to, have this type of, setup?
Yeah, it's a low intensity use, this use of the site. It's near Lenox Avenue. There's a couple of different, real estate and mixed use, type of residential structures in the area.
I believe we have a dentist about 2 to 3 blocks away from the home office.
Yeah, there's similar uses up and down Union Avenue.
That's a home office, the dentist particularly, I believe, is that right?
Yeah.
And also Dr. Lavinara, the ear, nose, and throat specialist, is in Hillcrest with a home office?
Yeah, I think it's on Berkshire and Union. And, so there's different types of uses. I mean, there's less, as you get towards Totowa, there's not as many, but there are, at least 1 or 2 in each, block.
Okay.
Also, during the day for, clients to come by, the parking is pretty accessible along Union Avenue, and would not be negatively impact the area.
Okay, we'll defer to Mr. Paparazzi at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Evans, and Mr. Maraconda, I know Mr. Evans, alluded to the fact that there were gonna be 4 clients per day, but I assume that, Ms. Campos will, testify to that, area?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, among the, additional variances that were not listed, no non-resident employee is allowed, and according to the report, there's going to be 1 part-time employee. So that's a variance. No change to the exterior of the building is allowed, and that is already done, but that is a variance. The garage was eliminated. And it says, no non-resident shall visit the home for business purpose, and we already know that the clients are going to the site. And then, last but not least, 4 parking spaces are required and 1 is proposed. Mr. Evans, your plan, would have to show those other variances, if the application is approved, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, and Mr. Evans, I know you show a full bathroom in the basement. Is there a kitchen in the basement, or?
No, let me go back to the plan. These are basically as-built plans, so when I visited the site, there's a laundry sink, there's a washer dryer, new washer dryer set up there, there's a bathroom, and that would be the extent of the plumbing in the basement. So there's no kitchen or anything, and the only access through the basement would be from the stair next to the kitchen on the first floor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Evans.
Any commissioners have questions for the architect? If not, Mr. Rocco, can you open it up to the public, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the public, if you have questions of the architect, please call 973-321-1579, enter meeting ID number 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment to see if anybody calls.
We have no fault at this time.
Thank you very much. Proceed, Mr. McConnell.
Thank you again, Counselor. We're gonna call Ms. Medallia Campos, please.
Should raise your right hand. You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Magdalia Campos Geraldo.
Good evening, Ms. Campos. Basically, you've heard the testimony of Mr. Evans and my opening comments as well,
Yes, sir.
and also Mr. Paparazzi's questions to Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir.
You're in agreement with our testimony so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just go back and get a little background. Tell us your professional licensing yourself.
I'm an accountant, graduated from William Paterson University. I've been working as an accountant since 1993. Graduated from William Paterson in 2006, worked for a CPA firm. In 2009, when the first recession happened, I decided to go on my own since I was let go from the CPA firm that I was working. Ever since I've been working on my own, I've been conducting myself in the same manner, tax preparation, accounting, business. My service is pretty much to cater to my clients, in which I go to their offices. They don't so much come to me. I go to them. And now with the new technology, that's actually helping me because they bring everything through me, through emails and through USBs. And now that we have the Zoom convention, Skype, we can communicate better that way. So that eliminates me moving and driving.
So there's it's fair to say there's a lot less person-to-person contact, particularly now with the last year or so, I would assume, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're trying to move your practice in that direction anyway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, just briefly on that background, I know it's a thing that you're very unhappy in what transpired, but you hired what you thought was a reputable licensed contractor. He advised you and confirmed in writing that he was going to handle all the necessary approvals with the city of Paterson?
Yes, sir. That's the contract.
You paid him in full?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the process went along, the work was done to convert into office space, and at some point he did not provide you with the proof of the certificate of occupancy or anything of that nature?
Correct.
Right. Did he provide you with any proof of which permits, if any, he ever pulled out?
No, I actually obtained a copy of the construction permit from when I went to visit the office on Broadway, in which he did have fire certificate, DCA, building, electrical and plumbing permits, in which he did pay. And I have this receipt in here that I actually got a copy from the Broadway building, the office.
From the building department on Broadway, community improvement?
Yes, that one.
Okay. But despite that process that he apparently went through, he was never able to provide you with a final certificate of occupancy, is that right?
No, sir.
And so, as far as you know, he didn't call for the final inspection, as we would call it, right?
Yes, didn't call for the final inspections, didn't provide the blueprints as it was in contract stipulated, and I had to do it all on my own.
Right. So anyway, the process did not conclude completely the way it was supposed to, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you spoke to Mr. Evans, you spoke to myself, and we've been working on this ever since, right?
Yes, sir.
You purchased the property towards the end of 2018?
Correct.
All right. And with regard to your procedure and process, you talked about the fact that a lot of work is done by you attending to a client's office, a lot of work done by email and other methods with modern technology. You would like the ability to see clients on a very limited basis in that small office?
Correct. There's times that clients will like to just come in and drop off their paperwork because they don't, not that they don't trust it, they don't know how to use the new technology. Right. So I just wanted to have the peace of mind that they can come in and go without any issues.
Right. And you limit those visits to short periods of time?
Yes, it was just to drop off, pick up, and if ever a meeting happens, I'll schedule it. I do everything by appointment. I don't like anybody waiting, and especially now with COVID, it actually helped me even better to make them understand the waiting is not a standing for them.
Right. And Mr. Evans indicated on his plan there would be no more than 4 clients visiting the office on a particular day. You would accept whatever condition the board puts on that number?
Yes, of course.
Okay, good. And we also talked about, Mr. Paparazzi correctly pointed out in his analysis, that there should not be normally a non-resident staff working with you. You had indicated to me, and I incorporated this into our application, that you would have one part-time assistant. Could you explain how that works?
Actually, I live with my sister. She's my assistant. She's the one that handles the phone calls. She's the one that can answer the calls since I work everything with my cell phone. So she doesn't have to be in the office particularly. She can be in the living room, in the basement, or in her bedroom. She can answer those calls there.
So she's like an administrative assistant in some way. She's not a second professional.
No. She's like my personal assistant pretty much.
Right. And she lives in your house. That's her primary residence.
Correct.
Okay. All right, and obviously you have no problem if that's a condition of her occupancy or presence on the site of the office, if you will.
No arguments, sir, no.
Okay. All right. You understand that if this board, as the board council indicated, if this board were to approve your application, you would have to then take the steps to finalize the certificate of occupancy. I know in terms of what we discussed earlier, making sure that all the permits are closed out, all final inspections would be done, and an actual certificate of occupancy to be obtained if the board deems this worthy of approval.
Yes, I do have final approvals. There were final inspectors that came and gave me the sticker that said final.
So, from each department of the building department.
Yes.
Right. But again, those would be subject to, I would think, a follow-up review and a final CO inspection. You understand that?
Yes.
And you would be bound by any such further review?
Correct, yes.
Okay. That will conclude my testimony, Madam Chair. Mr. Chairman, excuse me. I was thinking planning board for a minute there, you know.
Gary.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. I've known Mr. Jackson long enough to know that, that's for sure.
Ms. Campos, I know the work outside has been done. All the work on the inside is also complete?
Yes, sir.
Even though there were no final inspections? Were you fined or was the contractor fined for doing the work without the permits?
No, I wasn't fined, but I do understand the difference between having a certificate of occupancy and a final visit from the inspector. I do have the final stickers, but I've never in my hand held a final certificate of occupancy.
And you understand that's why we're here?
Yeah.
Do you know if your contractor was fined for doing the work without permits? Do you know that?
No, I don't know anything, no.
Okay. How long have you been on your own as a CPA?
I'm not a CPA. I'm a licensed tax preparer, and I'm an accounting graduate from William Paterson. I just never took the time to take the exam for the CPA, even though I studied. But
my apologies, I referenced CPA at one point. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you been working on your own then?
Since 2009.
Okay. And where were you working before Union Avenue address?
I was working for a CPA firm in Cedar Cooperman in Saddle River.
When you were working on your own?
I always worked from my home. So, but I've never occupied my home as a full-time office, since I'm always coming and going to my clients and bringing the work into my home and just work on my own. It's just now recently that I need an assistant and I have a little bit of more space, and I just want to be a little bit more free, stretch my arms per se.
Okay, so now also you said your part-time employee was your sister, who also resides at the house, right?
Right.
She resides there full-time?
Yes.
Okay, so that would eliminate that variance at no non-resident employee. Okay, and Mr. Evans alluded to the fact that you're going to see approximately 4 clients per day. I guess obviously during tax season mostly, but is that going to be limited to 4 people? I'm not talking about drop off and pickup. I'm talking about actual people that have to come to your office and present paperwork and get advice.
I will say not to exaggerate 4, but I limit myself not to have anybody coming into my home. I'd rather go to their office since I have all their books, all their computers, and I can work better there.
Right, because I have to like that there are occasions when people come to your office, so you have to acknowledge that, of course.
Yes, at least once in a while, yes.
Okay. All right, it is one family, right, Ms. Campos? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, for Ms. Campos.
Okay, any commissioners have questions?
Commissioner Watkins. Hello, Ms. Campbell, how are you?
Hello, ma'am.
You said you live in the house with your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please explain to the commissioners the status of your taxes and your sewer bill?
All paid to date, we provided that to the board.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yes, he is correct, Commissioner.
This is Dr. Hodges. How are you, Ms. Campos?
How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. Where were your people who drop off? Where will they be parking when they drop off the package?
They either drop it off in my mailbox, or they just come through the side door and hand me over the paperwork.
All right, so there's parking for them to drop off, or where will they, you eliminated your parking?
I have a driveway.
So they can just park into the driveway?
But I assume, Ms. Campos, you're going to use the driveway. This is Gary Paparosi. So the Commissioner Hodges, the clients would have to park on the street. There is a parking variance. 4 spaces are needed for a 5-bedroom house, and 1 for the 3 are needed for the 5-bedroom house, and 1 for the office, for a total of 4 spaces. And there's only 1 space provided. So 3 spaces are the variance that is needed for parking, and those are the ones that would be dropping off parking on Union Ave.
Thank you.
You're welcome, I'm sorry.
Any other commissioners?
Yes, hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman. I do have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, Ms. Campos, good evening.
Hi, sir.
My question is, during the tax season, do you prepare your taxes?
Yes, sir.
Understanding that during that time, it can be very congested. How are you planning to see your clients? Are you going to have one appointment at a time? Are you planning to have several people at the same time when you prepare the taxes? Because most of the time, people have to be present when they're doing their taxes. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, I do limit myself when scheduling clients. I schedule 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, and at least 1 before 5 p.m. 4 is my latest. And I schedule them in a long period of time because I do not like to be rushed. So then what I do ask them is to email me their paperwork. I work on their paperwork, and then they come, they sign, and they leave. So their stay might be 10, 15 minutes there are times when I do get a new client and which it will require for me to interview them, to get to know them and for them to get to know me. So that it will be planned ahead. So I try to limit myself on how many people, they come to my phone, to my office.
Right, Ms. Campos, you also indicated that you do a great deal of, leaving your home office to the client's offices to serve their needs at their location.
Yes, I do go to their offices, as I said before, because it is where they have their paperwork. Mainly, it's mainly businesses and individuals. So I just go to their home status or business status, and then I just work from there and talk to them. And especially, I like to cater to them. In my opinion, it looks better when I come to them rather than for them to come as their business people. They want to utilize their time on their business and not handling this. So that's the reason why I'm their accountant. I should be going to them, not them coming to me. In my professional opinion, that's the way I work.
Right, and again, just to summarize, you indicated that the increase of technology in your profession has made the ability to complete work without face-to-face contact much easier.
Yes, correct. Thank God for Zoom and Skype and emails. So we can send everything through me and I can meet them through Zoom like we're doing right now. So, and it's a good thing because now with the pandemic, they don't feel like they have to, because I've been training them how to do it and I teach them how to do it. So it'll be more convenient for them too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other commissioner? Mr. Rocca?
Thank you, sir. If any members of the public have any questions or comments with regard to the testimony just heard from the applicant, please call 973-321-1579, enter meeting ID 711-680-0071. Let's give it a moment.
We have no callers at this time.
Mr. Malconda, could you sum up, please?
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner, for hearing us. We appreciate the opportunity here. Ms. Campos clearly is a professional person who has developed her practice over a good number of years, and she finds that this method of operation of her practice is the most appropriate way of her to serve her clients. She's testified to you in detail about how that's accomplished. I think it's a very positive way of handling things on a limited basis in this particular zone. Mr. Evans' plan, I believe, speaks for itself in terms of current conditions, and the applicant is already committed to take all necessary steps to complete the process with the Paterson Department of Community Improvements pursuant to the permits and work that was done prior to tonight. We believe in all respects, then, this is a positive application. She accepts the conditions that have been talked about during the course of this testimony, and we ask the boards for consideration of approval. And again, there is a tradition of small home offices in our city, and there are a couple in the surrounding Hillcrest area particularly. Thank you very much.
Gary?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, there are 3 variances here. First of all, there is no use variance, only bulk variances, so majority vote is only required. Now, the 3 variances are no change to the exterior building allowed, and that has happened because of the removal of the garage. And no non-resident shall visit the home for business purpose, and Ms. Campos alluded to the fact that she may have clients come to the office from time to time. And she also said that she would limit that to 4 if that were to happen per day, if that was the case. And the last variance is the parking requirement for 3 spaces, which I always defer to the board members. If the board were to approve the application, it just needs to be, Mr. Evans' zoning chart has to be revised and updated to show all the variances. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
At this time, can we have a motion, please? Madam Secretary,
Yes, Chairman.
I'll make the motion. Can you read it into the record, please?
Is it for approval or denial?
Approval.
Okay. Chairman, Gerald Daston makes a motion that the application of Dalia Campos concerning the premises at 129-131 Union Avenue, block 612, lot 17, to convert an existing garage into a home office. The applicant proposes to open a home office in the attached one-car garage with 1 part-time assistant. The proposed office would be 318 square feet with an existing entrance or exit on the side of the building. The applicant is providing 1 space in the front yard setback of the 4 spaces that are required. This is for both site plan for Passaic County Planning Board review in an R1 zone, that this application be granted and subject to the review and approval, if applicable, of the following but not limited to the city engineer, Passaic County Planning Board, Passaic County Engineer, HEP Soil Conservation District, and building codes of the state of New Jersey. He so moves. Is there a second one?
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Commissioner. Would that motion be with the revision to the Evans plan to show the required variances?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Duly noted.
Yes,
There's
good evening. This is Commissioner Furman on the condition that was made by our planner. I second for approval.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, the vote is as follows. Commissioner Furman, yes or no?
Yes for approval.
Thank you, Commissioner Hodges.
I have trouble with the loss of another garage, so I'm gonna vote no on this.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Minauro. Okay. Commissioner Bohim.
Yes.
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes, Maggie.
Commissioner Arenas.
Yes, Maggie.
Commissioner, where are you, ma'am? Commissioner Minauro? Okay, I will call time. Commissioner Minauro, can I have your vote, please? Shall I proceed, Mr. Brockman?
She's muted. Commissioner Monaro is muted.
Commissioner Minauro, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you unmute her from your end or no?
I'll try. No.
No. How many other commissioners do we have without?
Just her, I just need her vote.
Chairman Jackson.
She's unmuted now.
Commissioner Minauro? Just give me 1 moment, thank you.
You have Chairman Daxton to call in the roll, and
I didn't know that. I'm trying to reach her at the moment and calling IT. Can you give me a moment before I continue?
Yeah, we don't need it. We don't need it.
Understand we don't, but as a courtesy, if I have a commissioner who's trying to reach me on the line, thank you. Okay, we will continue. I will call her name one more time and we will proceed with Chairman Thaxton's vote. Commissioner Minello, can you hear me, ma'am? Okay, we will proceed. Chairman Thaxton, your vote, sir?
Yes.
The vote is 5 in the affirmative, one a no vote. This application has been granted. Thank you very much. We have no further business, Chairman Thaxton or Commissioners.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, everybody.
Good evening.
Good night, y'all.
Chairman Thaxton, would you like to close the meeting, sir?
Yes. If there's no other business in front of this board, I heard.
We have no further business. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good
night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you once again.
Good night.